who is a fictional character that is attractive in a weird way, or you thought you would not be attracted to. I like how this thread is 90% people listing conventionally attractive characters and 10% yeah lamp. Edit. Now that I've had time to think, my answer is the bear from Annihilation or the weird blood alien from Alien Covenant. Not one elastigeril comment. I was shocked. Edit. It's even more shocking the amount of people that responded with, but she's totally hot. Completely missing the point of my comment. To answer the original ops question, the non-conventional character that I've always been attracted to is Renamon from Digimentamers. I'm not a furry and don't find any other animalistic characters attractive, but something about her and my 12-year-old brain just clicked. Edit. I'm 31 now. Bob Belcher. He's a good dad and loving husband. And he's really passionate about what he does. Also his mustache is fat. I feel like Bob Belcher is the most realistic fictional character ever though lol. Like it's entirely possible to find yourself a real life Bob. He's probably my favorite because he's so relatable. I never fully watched Bob's Burgers, but always loved how they made him the straight man to his wacky family. His dialogue and tone of voice are way more real than a lot of cartoon characters. Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter and David Bowie as Jareth. Frankenfurter was very appealing to me in my younger years. Still does it for me now, to be fair. Those legs and those lips. For me it's when he looks directly into the camera, arches his eyebrow and says, well, how about that? Thank God I'm not the only one who fixated on that scene. Oh no. I swear to you. If you know someone who hasn't watched the movie yet, gender doesn't matter. Try to show them the sweet scene. The reaction will be the same every single time. I swear to God. You show that scene to someone, and they will be utterly hypnotized and mildly aroused. It's universal, dude. It's everybody. They will just sit in deep quiet, totally hypnotized. And then when it ends they are going to chew a bit on their lip and cross their legs saying, it was alright I guess, while averting their eyes away from you. Here's my question though. Is that Doc Frankenfurter or the actor? Young Jim Curry. With that voice, those moves. That sass. Those legs. That, everything really. If I'd just picked up and played Mass Effect with no prior knowledge of the series, I don't think I would have ever found Taylor attractive. And yet after 4 playthroughs of the franchise, I've only ever not romanced her once. And that was only because I was doing a femshep run. Honestly though, Taylor's aura is just an adorable cinnamon roll. Citadel DLC in 3, and romancing in 2 makes Taylor even cuter, especially if you take Taylor on your missions. She's just so cute, and filled with joy. Like when you take Taylor to that black tie event and she just has such a spring in her step as she holds your arm. Or the constant banter, if she and Garrus are on your team. Honestly. Same. I play as femshep though, so my choice is always Garrus. Which when I first played he was not someone I would have been into at all, both personality wise and physically. I mean he is essentially a bird looking dude. But now he is it in me for me. I can't wait to get my hands on Lane play again. Ryuk from Death Note. This one is cursed. Any context for someone who hasn't watched Death Note? Literally a god of death who likes to eat apples and his entire existence is to kill people, and he's so bored doing just that, so he lets humans do the killing for him. The protagonist of Death Note gets his notebook which kills anyone who you write the name of in it, and becomes the largest serial killer of all time. I was obsessed with Lupin from Harry Potter when I was little. All that emotional baggage and pain wrapped up with such kindness and wisdom. Think my parents were concerned lol. Lupin was when I realized I had daddy issues lol. I think the reason why I like him so much is because I saw an adult that had many issues but was kind, wise and functioning. OHH, me too. Actually, I was always a little apprehensive about telling anybody that I mostly liked the older men in HP. So when my mother asked me if I liked anyone I was like, yeah. Harry is cute. Jason Isaacs, anyone? Alan Rickman, though not quite movie Snape, book Snape is in his late 30s/early 40s. Tom Felton. Isaacs as Colonel Tavington in The Patriot was like a revelation to 11-year-old me. I loved the movie as a whole and watched it all the time. My parents thought I was watching it for Heath Ledger and I just let them think that. Imp Midna. Like I'd smash humanoid Midna too. I'm just saying I'd want a turn with both. A smug and sassy creature that slowly opens up to you and whom you see at her most vulnerable, who makes a little moan when you dash while she's riding atop you and who is shaped like a light bulb. Nintendo is the Pixar of game companies. Simple, cute games for the kids, unnecessarily attractive characters in those games for the adults. Philip J. Fry. He's a dumb, lazy slob and he's oddly hot to me. Plus he's just so sweet. Shame him apparently not do good snoo, according to most of the women he's had with, and that radiator woman from the radiator planet. Edit, and I can't believe I forgot my other crush. God bluff. I'd allow him to have bees in me anytime. I have a theory that Fry was drawn to particularly strong and dominant women. Michelle was Morgan was aggressive, and he's seen hitting on Amazonian women several times, at the ribbon cutting, at the farmer's market, and they seem to love him on their homeworld. And Leela is a mutant, and shown to be abnormally strong. The only non-dominant woman he gets within the series is arguably Amy, and that was more of a friends with benefits scenario, and his own grandmother, he did to the nasty in the past. Why? So he probably did just fine snoo, as long as you were willing to take the lead. He's not a strong confident lover, but he's good if he's with a strong confident lover. In regards to the first point, I can see why some women would be drawn to Fry. He's a type B personality, he goes with the flow, but he's also adventurous and has a starry-eyed optimism. You can really see this in the pilot episode, one of the best pilots of all time, where he convinces Leela to quit her job at the cryogenics lab because she hates it. And in the end, when he finds out he's going to be a delivery boy again, he's still excited because he gets to be an interstellar delivery boy and see the universe instead of biking around New York delivering pizzas. Fry sees life as an adventure, and he shares that perspective with his friends. There's a lot to be said for that. Sephiroth, I don't know why, but seeing that long-haired, stumpy polygon of man turn to look back through the flames of Nibelheim made 12-year-old me feel things I'd not felt before. Needless to say, this feeling has grown along with his polygon count. I've often questioned this one myself. More so with Cloud. He's literally a bunch of pixely blocks. How the heck can I be so attracted to this? Remake. Cloud absolutely justified the thirst. I've got one earlier. Rydia from FF4. Cute, sassy, and green hair. Not sure why, but early teen me thought the green hair was hot. It's not even my favorite color. Had her if we go earlier. Loke was mine. Handsome, charismatic little treasure hunter. Technically, not earlier, friend. Loke is from FF6. In America, we didn't get 2, 3, or 5. So 4 in Japan, became 2 on the SNES in America, and 6 in Japan, became 3 on the SNES in America. I had the biggest crush on the Heath Ledger Joker, and Pennywise for some reason. The Dark Knight came out while I was in middle school. I saw it in theaters, and was so attracted to, and obsessed with the Joker, that I saw it 5 more times in theaters, bought a cheap plastic diamond ring from Claire's, and told everyone in my grade that I was married to him. I had no idea who Heath Ledger was before I saw the movie, but when I found out he was dead I cried hysterically for a week. I'm still not sure how I avoided getting bullied. A friend bought me Stardew Valley for Christmas and I really wanted blue chickens, so I went on a whole journey to befriend probably the meanest bachelor in the game, and, well, long story short, I'm married to Shane, and I find him weirdly endearing in a way I haven't found a fictional character endearing before. Does that count? I feel the same way about Shane. Just something about him, lol. Haha, when I first started talking to Shane's rude sloppy bad boy alcohol problem, I knew I had to have him. And then after we got married I was so disgusted by the permanent muddy footprints inside the house that I had to divorce him. Then he was so that I had to pay to make him forget about our sordid past. Now I'm married to beautiful soft emo boy Sebastian and couldn't be happier. I first married Elliot, but he always felt way too slimy. While building the relationships I just fell for Sebastian, that cute emo, and I just wanted to get him away from Demetrius, that mean pose. Honestly I have felt some amount of shame for this, but after seeing someone that would the pixel lamp, kinda proud to go with Garcello, FNFCS, pretty much every JoJo character, and Jack Bright. You're literally me LMAO. There's just something about Garcello. JoJo characters are just hot and Jack Bright is, well, Jack Bright. Exactly, Garcello is our wholesome BBY. Practically every JoJo character are enjoyable and lovable, and Bright is basically the embodiment of Reddit. Chaotic and sad as hell. I'm going to get endless for it, but I fell hard for Princess Luna from MLP at the end of high school / early college. As a pony. Not a human. I don't know what caused it. I had a slight interest in growing up. A friend on Steam had her as an avatar and convinced me to watch the show. I didn't even like the show, but I loved the fan art of Luna I ran into. Something about that midnight blue color and edgy feel of her just triggered some in a deviant teenager that had apparently been bottled up. There was an artist named Mana Luna who would constantly draw her, and I fell in love with her art, and bought prints, and had them hung all over my apartment at the time then house. I ran into people creating life-size plushes of her, and desperately wanted one. That was the trigger for WTF you doin'? I had the message typed out, to commission one for $1,300 from a maker on DeviantArt, and just sat back, and realized how deep this hole had gotten. I closed the browser. The next day I took down all of my Magna Luna art, deleted my Luna Clop folder, changed my Luna wallpapers on everything to just pretty nature shots, and made accounts on every dating app out there. Eventually I met a girl actually through school, rather than an app, and that was that. Haven't really looked back. Every once in a while I praise the moon mentally, but I stop myself there. Be careful of those cartoon crushes. The moon was beautiful, and I loved her. Sterling flipping Archer. Arrogant, misogynistic douchebag who I were doing a heartbeat. I mean, look at that face. Sterling Archer is the first and only instance so far where I fully understand people who just but would never be in a relationship with the dude. Like I would voluntarily leave the second we are done, before he has the chance to speak, and ruin it lol. Dio from JoJo's made me low-key question my I'm surprised there aren't any anim characters here actually, because the anim community is into some weird. Probably because this is a thread for weird attractions. Within the anim community the strangest just accepted as normal, so the novelty of getting it up for snake girls and anthropomorphic blood cells has worn off. Why can't I find Hisoka? Granted I'm way too old for his taste though. Ha. So, my husband was watching HXH without me for a bit, so I started in the middle of season 1 or something IDK. I was like, is this an anime for kids? My husband replies in the affirmative. Not but 5 minutes later Hisoka goes into his bloodlust thing, his tongue hanging out, and looking at the two boys. I looked at my husband like, WTF dude. Me 2 seasons later, who are Hisoka? You must have started either the Hunter exam or the Greed Island arc. Season 1 would be Hunter exam. Hisoka had some weird moments with Gon and some of the other Hunter applicants during that arc. A lot of people forget about those, because the swing scene in Heaven's Arena and the part in Greed Island. Zora Hange from Attack on Titan. She starts out as just the token Titan otaku and acts as some comic relief, but turns out to be a total borderline psychopath. I just have a thing for intelligent, competent women, especially if you throw a little crazy / damaged in the mix. Zora Hange has all of that in spades. Edit. Yes, I'm aware of the whole ambiguity surrounding Hange's gender. Even if Hange is rocking a thunder spear down there, that doesn't really change anything for me. That's not unreasonable. It's normal. In AOT, Wings of Freedom you get to help her capture Sawney and Bean. I thought that was kinda special. Fun fact, if I'm remembering correctly, her character isn't gender in the manga. It's not a thing, and is never acknowledged. The beta script and dialogue never specify, and her manga version is kinda androgynous. I'm not sure if it has changed in more recent volumes, but, in the first few at least, her character wasn't disclosed/shown. Arthur Morgan. This one I 100% get, and I'm a straight guy. He's the truest definition of a warrior poet. It's funny because on the outside looking in he's downright irredeemable, but flipping through his journal the man should been an artist, not an outlaw. I like that they flipped the script with him. Irredeemable violent career criminal with a gentle introspective side and family values are super important to him. He's a flawed, interesting, beautifully written character. And also a picture of masculine power. And he always puts himself down saying he isn't a good man despite others saying otherwise. Let's be clear, he wasn't. He had admirable qualities, and a lot of his philosophy makes sense, but he was overwhelmingly not a good man, even juxtaposing how bad the feds and world around him was. I think he would have stayed the course if he hadn't gotten tuberculosis after beating Thomas Downs half to death. Kylo Ren. I'm not attracted to the actor at all, but the whole idea of Kylo. I remember when in TFA Kylo Ren removed his helmet for the first time, the whole theater chuckled. Adam Driver wasn't as popular as he is now, at least not where I live. He just looked so dorky, and not at all menacing. By TLJ, there were tons of people swooning over him. And I can kinda see it. They cast him perfectly. Kylo Ren is basically the Star Wars equivalent of a school shooter. He's a young kid who gives himself far too much power and wants revenge on pretty much everyone, and has serious anger issues. People laughed, but I love the scenes where he has tantrums. That's exactly what a childish Sith would be like. I mean, Anakin isn't far off that in 2 and 3. Casting him as this pale-faced lone-looking dude is spot on. I don't rate much of anything from the sequel trilogy, but Kylo Ren almost made them worth making. Okay, I don't usually comment with this, but 1000% this. People on Kylo because he's not menacing and isn't Vader, and it's like, bro, that's the point. He's a dorky kid with issues desperately trying to be something he's not. Luna Lovegood, you're just as sane as I am. Edit. To anyone who thinks it is not weird, read this from the Harry Potter fan wiki page. The girl gave off an aura of distinct dottiness. Perhaps it was the fact that she had stuck her wand behind her left ear for safekeeping, or that she had chosen to wear a necklace of butterbeer caps, or that she was reading a magazine upside down. Imagine you see a girl on the street. She has stuck a pen behind her ear. She wears a weird necklace. She reads magazines upside down. You think you would be attracted to that? When I was in middle school, I opened a classmate's notebook thinking they closed it on my calculator. Opened it up to find that nope, it was just a pencil case, and double nope, it was a fairly good pop sketch of Luna Lovegood giving the viewer a foot job. Classmate saw me and yanked the notebook away, and I'll never forget his defense, bro, what, no, it's because she's weird, so she'd be into it, you know. Midna from Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. What's that? You think I'm talking about the humanoid version from the end of the game? No. I'm talking about Midna as an imp, because her little fang and wide eyes look so sinister and mischievous. Also, she's quirky, snarky, but learns to care about people other than herself as the game progresses, so I think in a way, I'm attracted to her personality as an imp than as her true form. She also reminds me of myself. Think of that what you will. This thread is soon going to be filled with people who discovered they were LGBTQ+ from fictional characters. Fictional characters are great for figuring out what you like. As a kid, I thought people older than me were unattractive because they were too old, and people younger than me were unattractive because they were too young, and people my age were somehow too old and too young at the same time. But this did not apply to fictional characters for some reason, so I figured out that I can be attracted to someone. Just makes it sad that queer characters have been censored systemically in all media for the past century except recent years. I'm grateful for kids today watching Cartoon Network and such, seeing characters that are actually queer and they can relate to. Sakura from Naruto. A lot of people in the Naruto fandom hate Sakura. I thought I would too, but after watching it, I did not have hate for her. She had an ordinary background and yet made it so far. Also, she looks good. I don't think I'd say I hate her. I just think she was a massive waste of a character, had next to zero real development, and in all the manga, was useful for just about 3 major moments, if that. There's no excuse for that, and I wholly blame Kishimoto, because Kishimoto said some about women are difficult to write. No, they aren't so long as you treat them like people with relatable aspects. He did well with Tsunade, Temari, and Conan, and even then, Conan was mostly just an accessory to Pain. I've read/seen all of the canon stuff for the original series. Screw Boruto, don't need to see chakra lightsabers to know it's already run out of ideas, but Jesus Christ, Kishimoto was awful about keeping side characters relevant, and even main characters. Think about how many absolute insane power-ups that Naruto and Sasuke, and Kakashi, and even the other Jounin got. Now think about Sakura, Ino, Tenten, Kurenai. Basically any woman in the series that isn't Tsunade, Temari, or Conan is basically useless. And no, punching Kaguya at the end doesn't count. Hell, say whatever you want about Bleach, but goddamn, it did something with every single allied side character. All of them were unique, all characters had great designs, all of them had cool powers, all of them had genuine personalities, and were at least useful at some point in some important way. Not in Naruto. I can name a bunch of cool things Kiriaizoru did, but nothing that Shino did. Ahsoka Tano. Anyone going to whip out the copper pasta? No. Let's just let her be a good friend and that's that. Ahem. Luke, did I ever tell you about Ahsoka Tano? She was your father's exotic teenage alien apprentice, a fine piece of jailbait from a more civilized age. She had the tightest body and the perkiest little breasts in the galaxy, barely legal in most systems. Anakin and I used to double team her at the end of every successful campaign during the Clone Wars, and once in a while we'd even have the entire 501st runner train over her, part of official GD training of course. In time, she learned how to handle a meat saber better than anyone in the GD temple. She wore a miniskirt every day, so we told her there were no panties in space, and since she was constantly doing acrobatics you'd get a glimpse of her orange fight as she'd do a flip while slicing a B2 super battle droid in half. It was surreal. We taught her to grip her weapon backwards and she constantly got captured by pirates and slavers almost every other day. It was ridiculous, like a constant Luke, you have no idea. And she was a good friend. Jughead from the Archie comics, if anyone even says Riverdale, I will cut you. That is not Jughead. My Jughead wears a crown-like hat and walks with his eyes closed, and can put away large volumes of food in the blink of an eye. Thank you. What they did in Riverdale was unforgivable. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys for staying with me till the end. If you enjoyed watching this, you might as well watch these too.